on schedule for our launch this morning. Launch countdown began at 3:15 a.m. this morning here at the Mission Directors Center, approximately 5 hours prior to the opening of the launch window. Going through the pre-takeoff checklist for the L-1011, the Pegasus rocket, and the Cygnus spacecraft takes about 3.5 hours to complete. There's been a slight change to our T0 time based on the latest analysis we have on our collision avoidance quotient, and we are now targeting a drop of the Pegasus at 8:35 a.m. and that is purely just to avoid any objects on orbit that might be within a certain distance of the flight path of the Pegasus rocket. So right now the L-1011 is scheduled for departure at 7:35, and our drop of the Pegasus 1 hour later at 8:35. Our launch window remains the same. We will be opening our launch window at 7:21, which is the nominal opening of the window, and we planned originally to launch 5 minutes into the opening of the window. So now just slightly more into that to allow for the collision avoidance. Weather forecast today calls for a 10% chance of not meeting the launch weather criteria due to cloud constraints. And there is a very slight chance for an isolated shower downrange out over the ocean. Drop occurs about 110 nautical miles east-southeast of Daytona Beach. Gotten word from our tracking stations in South America, the Kourou station that is operated by the European Space Agency, and also NASA's tracking antenna that's operated by Wallops Flight Facility. Both have had successful test data flows this morning, indicating both those stations are up and running and are ready to support the Cygnus spacecraft, starting with the final third stage burn and spacecraft separation. At this point, nothing is unusual in our countdown. It's going to be a fairly routine Pegasus launch countdown. And as we said, even though we're going slightly into the launch window for the drop of the Pegasus from the L-1011, that does not change the fact that we still have all the way until 8:21 to be able to launch this morning. At T-minus 1 hour, 30 minutes, 39 seconds and counting, this is Pegasus Launch Control.
Step 113, start engine number 3.
LCPLC and ORB.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 28 minutes, 57 seconds and counting. This is our chase plane preparing for its departure here in the next 45 minutes or so. This is an FA-18 from NASA's Armstrong Flight Research Center in California. It will be flown by pilot Troy Asher, and flying in the seat behind him is Lori Losi, who is providing the live video to NASA TV that we'll be seeing. She has done numerous Pegasus flights in the past. So this will include the video while the L-1011 is in the pre-launch pattern, and then capturing the deployment and the initial minutes of the Pegasus flight. This is the aft of the Pegasus rocket that we're seeing here from a camera on board attached to the chase plane, and we'll be able to see live video of the fin sweep, which occurs in the last 90 seconds as the preparations are completed to drop the Pegasus. And the chase plane will be continuing to look at that point as well. They'll be doing a video survey of the plane to assure that all looks well for the deployment of the Pegasus at T0. Right now, the L-1011 is scheduled for departure at 7:35 from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. This is the news media gathered to watch the departure of the L-1011 with the Pegasus rocket at the Air Force runway called the Skid Strip at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. Visibility here this morning is 7 miles. It's definitely better than what we had for Monday's launch attempt when there was considerable fog at the Cape. We're at T-minus 1 hour, 26 minutes, 38 seconds and counting. This is Pegasus Launch Control.
LCPLT, engine number 3, start complete.
And PLT, I copy. Engine number 3, start. And vehicle LC on ground ops. Step 114, report vehicle closeout complete and ready for taxi.
LC vehicle, RBF items to move, area clear, EFC 16020 complete, ready for taxi.
Roger that, vehicle, check 114.
And I'm going off ground up, see you in the control room.
Copy that, vehicle. And launch team, LC on ground ops. Activity on our ground ops net will now terminate. We'll transition all operations to countdown net and mission freak.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 24 minutes, 50 seconds and counting. Departure preparations are complete. Aircraft reports they are ready to taxi, and communications on the ground ops net is now concluding as we transition to the launch conductor's net that the launch conductor will be talking with the airplane. So we will be hearing future communications with the aircraft by our launch conductor Adam Lewis, and with the pilot and co-pilot of the L-1011 as they prepare to taxi out. Our pilot Don Walter from Orderly TK is flying the plane, and co-pilot Bob Gordon in the right seat, and he's actually the one that pushes the button to drop the rocket. And also on board with them is our flight engineer, Bob Taylor. At T-minus 1 hour, 23 minutes, 38 seconds and counting, this is Pegasus Launch Control.
And Launch Team LC on countdown with the status. Now complete all steps through step 118 of the engine start. And pre-taxi checklist will be giving the PLT the go to proceed to taxi here in just a few minutes. And we'll work the final coordination with the chase plane ops as well. Expectation for today is actually for our chase plane to go wheels up prior to the L-1011. And we should be able to get a airborne view of the L-1011 during takeoff.
And this is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 21 minutes, 40 seconds and counting. We'll now at a brief video of the Iris spacecraft as it was launched from a Pegasus rocket over Vandenberg Air Force Base, which is what we'll be hoping to see here today at 8:35 this morning.
Drop on my mark. 3, 2, 1, drop. LC, Pegasus away. You have stage 1 ignition.
Once the drop command is given, the Pegasus, as we saw, free falls for 5 seconds, and then the rocket ignites, and it takes about 8 minutes and 4 seconds for the rocket to reach orbit, and then there'll be a 5-minute coast phase today before the spacecraft begin to deploy, the Cygnus spacecraft. It's at launch plus 13 minutes and 4 seconds that the 4 spacecraft deployments begin, and they will all be complete. All 8 will be off the tip of the rocket by 14 minutes, 44 seconds after the Pegasus rocket begins flight. Standing by now for taxi of the L-1011. And as we heard, because of the improved visibility this morning, the chase plane will take off in advance of the L-1011, so we do hope to get live video from the chase plane of the L-1011 with Cygnus departing from the runway. And we're now at T-minus 1 hour, 19 minutes, 44 seconds and counting. This is Pegasus Launch Control.
And NASA 846, this is LC on 264.8 for a comm check.
And NASA 846 has you loud and clear.
And 846 have you loud and clear as well. And just wanted to get a feel from you, how far in advance the L1011 wheels up are you planning on going wheels up?
Looking at the weather right now, we'll be going 3 minutes before the L1011.
Roger that, 846. LC out.
At LC 846, the weather's blowing through here, so if we do have a ceiling, it keeps changing. So if the ceiling goes down, then we'll take off 4 minutes behind them. So it's either 3 minutes ahead if the weather's good. If the weather's not good, then it'll be 4 minutes behind.
Copy that, 846.
And Cape Control, copy.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 16 minutes, 27 seconds and counting. Our NASA Launch Director, Tim Dunn, will be conducting his poll for the aircraft's departure in about 8 minutes. As we heard from the chase plane, the visibility or the ceilings are somewhat variable at the skid strip right now, so whether or not he takes off ahead or behind the L1011 is going to be a real-time call. Of course, we're hoping that it's before so that we can get video of the L1011 with Cygnus actually departing from the runway. But if not, we will have some real-time video live from the chase plane as the wheels are retracted, wheels up. That's our chase plane, the FA-18, from NASA's Armstrong Flight Research Center, being flown by Armstrong's Troy Asher, and our videographer is Lori Losey. See the chase plane going through the pre-flight checks of the flight control surfaces. And again, our drop this morning targeted for 8:35 a.m. at T-minus 1 hour, 15 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. This is Pegasus Launch Control.
And PLT, this is LC on Victor 1. You're go to proceed to taxi with tower clearance.
LC PLT, proceeding to taxi.
Copy, proceeding to taxi. Check 119. And launch team, this is LC on Countdown Net. We're now complete all steps through step 120 of the engine start and pre-taxi checklist. We will be ready to begin our pre-takeoff checklist in just a minute here. And launching, the L-1011 is rolling.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 10 minutes, 53 seconds and counting. The L-1011 has now taxied into position and now is just awaiting final tower clearance to proceed into onto the runway and assume the runway heading for departure. Airplane has received permission to taxi out to the hold short point, and very shortly will be taxiing into position and then holding for departure, which is scheduled for 7:35 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. Shortly we should see the chase plane taxi out and into position as well, proceeding toward an 8:35 a.m. drop time this morning. Once again, just a 10% chance of a weather violation. Downrange, another clear to launch from our tracking stations in Kourou in South America, one provided by the European Space Agency and the other by Wallops Flight Facility.
1, step 121, status check at last chance.
LC, PLC, last chance check complete.
Roger that, PLT.
And that's basically an opportunity for the pilot to indicate if he has any concerns about pressing on with a departure this morning.
prepare your aircraft for takeoff at this time. NASA CE.
This is Ace for NASA CE. NASA Engineering is go for takeoff.
Copy that. Engineering go for takeoff. SMA.
SMA is go.
Copy SMA go. SMD.
SMD is ready for takeoff.
Copy SMD ready for takeoff. NASA MEM.
NASA MEM is ready for takeoff.
Copy NASA MEM. LSP.
LSP is go.
NLM copies LSP go. The NASA team is go for L1011 takeoff.
This is Pegasus Launch Control.
And LC countdown, be advised, chase planes rolling.
T-minus 1 hour, 6 minutes, 10 seconds and counting. Chase plane getting ready to move into position. Waiting for go from the tower to have the L1011 taxi into position and hold.
And LPO, LC on Victor 1.
LT, LPO, go ahead.
Your go for step 122, start instrument recorder and video recorder.
LT, LPO, recorders are on.
Copy, recorders on. And LPO, per the black line handwrite in the note above 123, you go to configure the AACS for takeoff. Maintain that AACS as required for a target fairing temp of 59 degrees F.
LPO copies the 59 degrees F, AACS configured for takeoff.
And I roger that, copy that LPO, we'll check 123. And launch team, step 124. Our target takeoff time for today will be 12:38:00 Zulu. That's 1238:00 Zulu. Target drop time for today's operation will be 13:35:00. That's 13:35:00 Zulu.
Do you need something, Bob? Yep, that's fine.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 1 hour, 3 minutes, 30 seconds and counting.
LC, LPO.
Yeah, I would like to request an additional inspection of launch pressures and activate the hydraulic pump if required at this time.
LCLPO, launch pressures recorded and nominal.
Copy that, LPO.
And that's step verifying our deployment system for the launch today. Here we see the chase plane taxiing into position for departure. Aircraft slight adjustment to their takeoff time, 7:38. Still targeting an 8:35 a.m. drop. And it appears that the chase plane does have sufficient ceiling and visibility to be able to depart first. So that means we'll have live video from the chase plane of the L-1011 departing from Cape Canaveral. We're now 1 hour, 2 minutes, 25 seconds and counting. This is Pegasus Launch Control.
On countdown net. At this time, I'd like to poll for readiness for takeoff. Rock?
Rock is go.
Rock is go. Peg?
Peg is go.
Peg is go. Orbital?
Orbital is go.
Orbital is go. NLM?
NLM is go for takeoff.
NLM is go. Launch team is go for takeoff. And launch team is go for takeoff. PLT confirm.
LCPLT, PLT confirm.
And LPO, I will wait for your call on wheels up.
LPO copy.
And launch team, we have 846 airborne. L-1011 getting itself ready at the end of the taxiway.
NASA 846, radar contact.
NASA 846, 1 minute.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 57 minutes, 45 seconds and counting, less than 1 minute away from the departure of the L-1011.
Pegasus Cygnus 81 from the launch team and crew. And launch team will now complete our pre-takeoff checklist, currently in our climb cruise checklist.
Yes, 846, book, stand by. 846. Yes, 140.
LPO, LC, Victor 1, step 127, you go to stop nitrogen purge.
LC, LPO, purge is off.
Copy purge off, and LPO, you go for step 128. Configure GN2 for captive carry and adjust to AACS to maintain fairing air temp at approximately 59 degrees.
LC, LPO, GN2 configured for captive carry, AACS adjustments and work.
Roger that, LPO.
NASA 846, Cape Controls, Buck,
and payload LPO, LC, Victor 1.
LC, payload LPO, go ahead.
And payload LPO, be advised in step 126 alpha, similar to Monday's operation, we're going to let the soft ride system cool down before we worry about enabling or go ahead and enabling soft ride heater, so it'll be approximately 30 minutes of captive carry.
LC, payload LPO, I copy and we're standing by.
MIFCO LC on countdown, your go to perform your radio check on mission frequency with the L-1011.
MIFCO copies.
Control, November 140,
this is MIFCO on Victor 1 with
140, Sierra Charlie, loud and clear.
MIFCO PLC,
clear now, sir. We are climbing out of 6,200.
RCO LC, your go to perform your radio check on mission freq with L-1011.
RCO copy. PLT is RCO on Victor 1 with comm check. How do you read?
RCO, PLC, will read you loud and clear.
Have you the same.
And Rock LC, your go to perform your radio check on mission freq with L-1011.
Rock copies. PLT, this is a Rock on Victor 1 with a comm check. I'll copy.
Rock PLC, read you loud and clear.
And I have you the same.
And RCO, step 132, verify C-band transponder operation, continuing nominal.
C-band transponder operation is nominal.
Roger that, RCO.
Cape Metro, Patrick Tower, VHF, radio check.
Patrick Tower, this is Cape Metro. Read you loud and clear. Help me.
Loud and clear.
And launch team LC on countdown with the status currently in our climb cruise checklist. L-1011 is climbing out to waypoint. Peak climb, estimated time to waypoint peak climb is approximately 10 minutes at around 12:51 Zulu.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 52 minutes, 14 seconds and counting. We're joined now by Ali Mendoza-Hill. She is the mission manager for the Cygnus program for NASA's Launch Services program. And Ali, we're glad to have you. There's been a lot going on here the last few days, and we thought maybe we'd get you to recap a couple of things for us. First of all, after the first launch attempt, what did they determine was the issue with the L-1011 and the problem with the deployment mechanism?
Yeah, so as most folks probably heard, it was a hydraulic pump issue that we were having. The hydraulic pump wouldn't start up. What we determined on the ground once we landed safely, that it was a tripped circuit breaker that was tripped. So we had to swap it out and then recycled the pump, and it was working fine. We had multiple cycles on the ground, but pretty much it was a controlled circuit breaker that had tripped.
So why not one that they could just reset while they were at altitude? And
Right. It was it wasn't able to be reset on altitude. It had to come down. But actually, it was replaced on the ground.
Completely replaced.
Yes, it was.
Then yesterday, maybe you could explain a little bit about, we know that we postponed an additional day due to a software issue associated with the Cygnus spacecraft, but maybe you could explain what it was they found and what the effect would have been had we not done something about it.
Sure. Yeah, so it was what they found. What they did is, so the spacecraft, once we were standing down for a day, what they started doing is going in through their contingency procedures, their on-orbit contingency procedures, and running checks and making sure everything was okay, because they had the extra time to go do that. And then they found, it was on a flight software table, there was one parameter that wasn't correct. So it was an easy fix. It was just a matter of uploading the software into the spacecrafts, to the 8 spacecraft. But what they did is they took the extra diligence to just go and look at all of their software and make sure that there was something else that was going on. So we stood down overnight just to make sure that everything was okay, and they found nothing else anomalous in their software.
And they loaded.
Right, and they reloaded all the new software and then checked out and validated all the spacecraft and the software, and it was kind of just almost make sure, check everything twice, and flight assurance for their mission operations.
Well, how's the spacecraft been doing this morning, and have they been talking with any of the downrange assets, such as in South America?
Yes, we have. Actually, two questions. The spacecraft's been doing really well. No anomalies so far, so they're very quiet. Batteries are charging fine. And then we do have, though, when we talked to the 2 stations down at French Guiana, we did data flows twice this morning. Everything's good, no issues. Our beacons, which are just comm devices between there and here, are working fine. No issues. It's been a very quiet morning for us.
So at this point, it looks like we're go for our deployment here at 8:35, and nothing else of note. I guess hopefully we're looking for a very quiet cruise to altitude.
Yes.
So thank you very much, Alicia Mendoza-Hill, our Launch Services Program Mission Manager for Cygnus. And we're now at T-minus 48 minutes, 24 seconds and counting. This is Pegasus Launch Control.
And launch team expecting a waypoint peak climb in approximately 5 minutes. And MIFCO, LC on countdown.
MIFCO.
Your go to switch command transmitters to steerable and steerable antennas.
Roger. Bronze 1 Alpha, switch to steerable antennas. LC, command carrier up, 1 Alpha master transmitter on a steerable antenna with check channel.
Copy that, MIFCO.
This is Pegasus launch control, T-minus 46 minutes, 53 seconds and counting. This is the racetrack pattern that the aircraft is going to be flying. We can see it in the green dot at the lower portion of the racetrack on the way out to get into that pattern. The so-called drop box in which the Cygnus launch occurs is 10 miles wide and 40 miles long. And at the time of launch, the L-1011 carrier aircraft will be traveling at a speed of between 560 and 610 miles an hour at an altitude of 39,000 feet, which is 7.4 miles above the Atlantic Ocean. Once the drop command is given, the Pegasus will free fall for 5 seconds, and then the rocket ignites. The flight for Cygnus will last 8 minutes and 4 seconds, after which there will be a 5-minute coast phase, and then at launch plus 13 minutes 4 seconds, a series of 4 spacecraft deployments from the Pegasus begins, which concludes 14 minutes 44 seconds after the Pegasus began its flight. And at that point, all 8 of the spacecraft of Cygnus will be in orbit, and we'll be getting contact from them through our tracking stations in South America. Engineering team will be able to do an assessment of the Pegasus rocket by the chase plane very shortly, once it approaches our cruising altitude of 39,000. And a chance to look over the L-1011 as well. We're now at T-minus 45 minutes, 2 seconds and counting. This is Pegasus launch control.
LCPLC passing peak climb on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
And I copy PLT waypoint peak climb. And payload LPO, LC, Victor 1. And payload LPO, LC, Victor 1. LPO, LC, Victor 1.
LC, LPO, we have you loud and clear.
And I've got you loud and clear as well, LPO. Can you let payload LPO now know we're good for, we are go for cooling on at this time?
Cooling is on.
And LPO, have payload LPO try a comm check with me.
LC, payload LPO, how copy?
Loud and clear, payload LPO.
And LC, LPO.
Go ahead, LPO.
Just to let you know that we've been having a little bit of, the aircraft has been having a little bit of the hot zone trim air. We were getting a bit higher, 80, 90 degrees air from the aircraft, so we've been unable to cool the temperature going into the fairing. What we've done is we've shut off the fan and reduced the flow rate. We've turned also cooling on, and right now it looks like they're resolving the issue. The input air to the AACS is down to 62, so we should be able to maintain cooling.
Copy that, LPO.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 41 minutes, 22 seconds and counting. We've been listening to our payload launch panel operator, Fred First, and the launch panel operator, Jim Stowers. They are in the back of the plane behind the pilot.
Received our waypoint P climb. Our next waypoint will be at P power. That's expected at approximately 12:59 Zulu, so in just about 5 minutes.
That report from our launch conductor, Adam Lewis, that we're on schedule for the next reporting point. And our two launch panel operators are behind the pilot and co-pilot and the flight engineer, just inside the flight deck.
And PLT LC Victor 1. And PLT LC on Victor 1. LPO LC Victor 1. LPO LC Victor 1.
LC PLT, go ahead.
And PLT, be advised, we're going to kick 846 off for their visual inspection. PLT, how copy?
140 Sierra Charlie, Cape Control.
PLT LC Victor 1.
0 Sierra Charlie, Cape
PLT, we copied that you have 846 breakoff.
They're going to go ahead and begin their visual inspection, so they'll be flying a little bit closer.
140 Sierra Charlie, radar contact, no transponder, just like the last time.
Okay. It may be just our angle with the rocket under us.
Roger, that's what I assumed.
846 LC on uniform.
And 846 copies all on uniform, beginning our visual inspection.
Roger that, 846.
LC, LPO, Victor 1.
Go ahead, LPO.
Just give you a quick update. Temperature from the galley is coming down. We're at 50 degrees right now, and we're back in a nominal configuration.
Okay, LPO, we copy that.
And Cape Control, November 140 Sierra Charlie, do you need position reports?
140 Sierra Charlie, you must be reading my mind. That would be nice if you just call each point.
And 846 LC on uniform, be advised, the engineering team has completed their visual. Appreciate the close-up there.
846.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 36 minutes 30 seconds and counting. The engineering survey of the Pegasus rocket now having been completed by the chase plane. And we're at the nominal point in the racetrack pattern for this particular point in time. We'll look now at a short video about what the Cygnus mission is all about.
A series of 8 small satellites to be deployed in low Earth orbit will sample wind speeds frequently each day to give forecasters a better impression of hurricanes and how they might form and gain in strength. The satellites, which will all launch at once from a single rocket, make up the mission known as CYGNSS, short for Cyclone Global Navigation Satellite System.
This technology, which is low power, also happens to be the only way that you can see through heavy rain.
The CYGNSS satellites will communicate with the GPS satellites. This way, with 8 satellites taking measurements, the area of Earth that can be measured is increased greatly. Successive satellites passing over the same region every 12 minutes. As the CYGNSS and GPS constellations move around the Earth, the interaction of the 2 systems will result in a new image of wind speed over the entire tropics every few hours, compared to every few days for a single satellite. Another advantage, the CYGNSS orbit is designed to measure only in the tropics, where hurricanes are most often found. The focus on tropical activity means the CYGNSS instruments will be able to gather that much more useful data on weather systems exclusively found in the tropics.
Normally we have to fly an aircraft into a hurricane to get that precise level of hurricane wind speeds.
CYGNSS will reach space aboard an unusual rocket. This is Pegasus, and it flies into space after dropping from an airplane, not leaving a launch pad.
So a launch off of Pegasus is very unique. It's the air-launched vehicle. So what that means is that the rocket is actually placed under a plane. The plane flies at about 39,000 feet, and then the rocket is released. 5 seconds later, it ignites and leaves the atmosphere.
Measuring 55 feet long, the Pegasus is built by Orbital ATK. It uses 3 stages that each burn solid propellants to lift its payload into orbit. For CYGNSS, the time from drop to ignition and then release of all 8 spacecraft in orbit will take less than 15 minutes. Although controllers keep tabs on the aircraft and rocket throughout the flight and launch, the drop from the aircraft can be the most intense.
Those are very long 5 seconds between the release of the rocket and the ignition of that first stage motor. The rocket guys they're turning on all sorts of stuff, but on console, I'm just holding my breath for 5 seconds until that motor ignites.
Although a Pegasus rocket can be launched virtually anywhere, the CYGNSS mission calls for a launch near Florida. That's because the main area the satellites will survey is the tropical region of the Atlantic, where many of the hurricanes that threaten the mainland United States form.
Because of the hurricane corridor, we have to launch from Florida.
The modified L-1011 aircraft, formerly used as an airliner, will take off from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station and head out over the Atlantic Ocean. About 110 miles off the coast of Daytona Beach, Florida, the aircraft carrying Pegasus will begin to fly a racetrack-shaped pattern over the ocean. When all systems check out and the launch director approves the drop, the crew on the aircraft will release the Pegasus to fly into space on its own.
We have a very defined box in space and time that we must drop the vehicle so that when we ignite the first stage of Pegasus, it puts us right in line for our mission orbit.
The CYGNSS mission had been slated to launch earlier this year, but when Hurricane Matthew brushed near Kennedy Space Center, the schedule had to be adjusted.
We were originally scheduled to launch CYGNSS earlier this year in the November timeframe, but as fate would have it, Hurricane Matthew had other things to say about the Eastern Range launch schedule, pushing us into the December timeframe. So it's probably appropriate for Cygnus that we're launching a little bit later, but because of a hurricane.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 31 minutes, 48 seconds and counting. And the name of Matthew Stintel on the payload fairing of the Pegasus rocket, recognizing the role that Hurricane Matthew played in the timing of this launch. The L-1011 will soon be passing over the point in the racetrack pattern that will be used for launch, and then it will turn back and head toward that position once again for the drop. Launch today is being controlled and managed from the NASA Mission Directors Center at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. Members of the Orbital ATK Pegasus XL team are here monitoring the health of their particular launch vehicle system, while Southwest Research Institute and the University of Michigan team are looking at systems on the Cygnus spacecraft. The Cygnus Mission Operations Center, operated by Southwest Research Institute, is located in Boulder, Colorado, and the University of Michigan Science Operations Center is located at the University of Michigan in Ann Arbor. Again, this is live video from the chase plane, and the L-1011 is now on the racetrack pattern headed toward the what they call the P-launch point, which is where we would be dropping the Pegasus rocket, but then it will head out and make a procedure turn, head back in to the point that it will be on the exact flight azimuth for the drop. And the green dot to the right-hand portion of your screen on the racetrack is where the L-1011 is currently. We're still on the way to 39,000 feet. The pilot will report reaching that altitude. And confirmation they are now level at 39,000. That's the deployment altitude. And we're now at T-minus 29 minutes, 15 seconds and counting. This is Pegasus Launch Control.
And launch team LCO and countdown, be advised we have gotten confirmation that we have Patrick as our verified RTB base for today. RTB, alternate base.
LC PLT on 264.8, Hattie.
And PLT, have you loud and clear? Help me.
Loud and clear. Did you hear our last call on 33.8?
Negative.
Make one more call on 33.8, see if it works. LC PLT, negative comm on 133.8. We are now on 264.8.
And I copy 264.8. And after we get the P launch call, PLT, let's try 123.225 as a backup, Victor.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 26 minutes, 23 seconds and counting. The Pegasus rocket that we see there is 58 feet long, 4 feet in diameter with a 22-foot wingspan. All three stages burn solid propellant, and the total weight of the Pegasus underneath the L-1011 is 50,990 pounds. This is the 42nd flight of the Orbital Sciences Pegasus launch vehicle since the program began in 1990. NASA's first launch on the Pegasus was in 1996, and Cygnus is NASA's 20th Pegasus flight. Total weight of the Cygnus payload atop the Pegasus is 761 pounds. And once on orbit, the Cygnus will have a orbital period of 95 minutes. Mission duration is planned as 2 years. Each satellite, each one of the 8, only weighs 61 pounds and is 5 foot 2 feet in length. Very small power consumption on orbit, 37 watts.
Copy P-launch. And PLT, report on turbulence, winds, and clouds at launch point.
Turbulence nil, winds 287/88, and clear clouds.
Copy all, PLT.
Cape Control, November 140 Sierra Charlie, passing point P-launch.
Sierra Charlie, go control. Thank you, sir.
And PLT, let's try a voice check on 123.225.
LCPLC going to 123.225.
And PLT LC on Victor 2.
LCPLC, read you loud and clear.
Loud and clear, PLT. So we will maintain checklist communications on Victor 2 and allow 846 and allow you to continue to work with airspace and Cape Control on Uniform 1.
LCPLC, copy.
And LPO, LC on Victor 2 for a comm check.
LC, LPO, I have you loud and clear.
And loud and clear, LPO.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 23 minutes, 24 seconds and counting. Aircraft having just flown over the drop point.
Thank you. I think it's just an angle. November 140 Sierra Charlie, thank you. I think it's just an angle issue with the rocket.
And I agree, sir. Thank you.
We will discontinue the waypoint calls unless you lose us again.
That's good. Thank you.
We are now 22 minutes, 20 seconds away from the deployment of the Pegasus rocket from the L-1011. Aircraft has flown over its launch position and will now make a wide turn out over the ocean toward the west, heading back east.
LC, payload LPO, go ahead.
You're now go for step 126 Alpha, enable soft right heaters.
LC payload LPO, soft right heaters on. Mark, 11.4 volts, 2.0 amps.
Copy all, payload LPO.
Looking now at our L-1011 aircraft, now at the cruise position for launch at 39,000 feet. Meanwhile, back here on the ground, here is the Launch Vehicle Data Center and the Mission Control Center, Mission Director Center, where we see our launch team communicating with the L-1011 following the flight. There's our NASA Launch Director, Tim Dunn. And this is Launch Vehicle Data Center 3, where the orbital ATK team is located. That is where our launch conductor, Adam Lewis, is located in the second row, and in the first row, Steve Hollow, who will be our flight commentator after launch. And this is Launch Vehicle Data Center number 2, where our NASA engineering team has been following the state of health of the Pegasus rocket leading up to its launch this morning. And the chase plane flying below the L-1011.
And launch team, this is LC on countdown with an updated status. We're now complete all steps through step 140. We do have our soft right heaters now enabled. We're expecting our next waypoint call for PINS. Expecting that to occur at approximately 13:20 Zulu, and at that time will be about 16 minutes from drop time.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 18 minutes and counting. Once we're inside T-minus 16 minutes, we'll take some steps to transition the Cygnus spacecraft to internal power.
I'm going to poll for readiness for Pegasus to FTS internal. OSM?
OSM is go.
OSM is go. MIFCO?
MIFCO is go.
MIFCO is go. Peg?
Peg is go.
Peg is go. Launch team is go for FTS internal power. LPO, LC on Victor 2, we're going to perform step 146, transfer Pegasus FTS to internal power.
LC, it's in work. FTS to internal on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. FTS external power supply is off now.
LC Peg, FTS on internal power and nominal.
Copy, Peg. And launch team at this time like to poll for final FTS arm checks. OSM?
OSM is go.
OSM is go. MIFCO?
MIFCO is go.
MIFCO is go. Peg?
Peg is go.
Peg is go. LPO, poll for final FTS arm checks.
LPO is go.
Launch team is go for final FTS arm checks. MIFCO, step 149, send and remove arm command.
Roger. On my mark, sending arm. 3, 2, 1, mark. Arm sent. Arm removed. CSE's in check channel.
LC Peg, FTS arm checks nominal.
Roger that, Peg. MIFCO, verify FTS arm checks nominal.
Stand by. LC MIFCO countdown net, FTS checks nominal.
Copy that, MIFCO. And this is LC on Uniform 2 and countdown. We have completed our FTS checks. FTS checks are now complete. Check 152. LPO, step 142, inspect launch pressures, activate hydraulic pump if required.
LC, LPO, launch pressures recorded and nominal.
Roger that, LPO. You are go to release, excuse me, you are go to arm release mechanism.
LC, LPO, it's in work.
LC, FSL, Cygnus is ready for internal power.
Copy that, FSL.
LC, LPO, the release mechanism is armed.
Copy, LPO, check 143 complete. PLT, confirm release arm.
LC PLC confirms release arm.
Roger that. Payload LPO, your go for step 141 Bravo.
LC, payload LPO, 141 Bravo in work.
LC PLC passing PINS on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
And I copy PINS. We'll go ahead and check step 141 complete.
LC, payload LPO, 141 Bravo is complete. Cygnus battery charging disabled.
Copy, payload LPO, check 141 Bravo.
LC, FSL, Cygnus confirms we're on internal power.
And FSL, I copy, check 141 Charlie.
This is
LPO, we're ready for cooling on and to remain on through drop.
LC, LPO, cooling is on.
And PLT, you go to power off anti-collision lights.
LC PLC in work.
This is Pegasus Launch Control, T-minus 13 minutes and counting. The release mechanism for the Pegasus has been armed and Cygnus is on internal power.
SMD on your net. Cygnus is go for power off for DMAU power off.
Copy that, SMD. We'll check 152 Bravo, 152 Alpha. Payload LPO, your go for 152 Bravo. Turn off Cygnus DMAU power.
LC, payload LPO, DMAU power off.
Copy that at payload LPO. Check 152 Bravo.
LC, FSL, confirm power off.
Roger, FSL. And LO, LC, can you confirm weather status?
LC, LO, weather is green.
Copy, weather is green.
We're now at T-minus 11 minutes, 30 seconds and counting. Our NASA Launch Director, Tim Dunn, will poll the NASA team at T-minus 8 minutes, and we'll get a go from the Cygnus Mission Director.
LPO LC Victor 2, can you verify drop waypoint entered in GPS?
LC, LPO, drop waypoint has been entered.
Copy that. Check 160. And payload LPO LC.
LC, payload LPO, go ahead.
Your go for 164. Switch to aft camera.
Aft camera now.
And we've been joined by our NASA Facebook Live coverage at this time. Our status for launch is go, still targeting an 8:35 a.m. drop this morning. And we're now T-minus 10 minutes and counting. Our NASA launch director will be conducting his poll in about 1 minute. Again, you can follow this on the NASA's Facebook Live site as well as on NASA television and on the web.
CE.
NASA CE is go.
SMA.
SMA's go.
SMD. NASA MEM.
NASA MEM is go.
LSP.
LSP's go.
And PEG LC countdown.
NLM copies. The NASA team is go for Cygnus launch.
Standing now for Pegasus to go to internal power.
LPO LC Victor 2, your go for step 158. Go for avionics to internal power.
LC, LPO, avionics to internal on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark. Avionics external power supply is off.
Copy LPO.
LC PEG, avionics on internal power and nominal.
Copy PEG. Copy PEG.
And LC, LPO, step 163 is also complete.
Roger that. We have fin pin engage, disengage switch at disengage.
A-firm.
Rock LC, can you report range status?
Range status is proceeding.
Roger, proceeding.
We're at T-minus 5 minutes, 55 seconds and counting. Our terminal count begins at launch minus 4 minutes.
LCPLT passing PIP on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Copy PIP, PLT. We'll go ahead and check 154. I can verify launch window is go. And I can verify launch window is go. Check 155.
LCPLT, L minus 7 minutes. 3, 2, 1, mark.
And I copy L minus 7, check 161. Payload LPO, your go for step 161 Alpha. Payload LPO, Victor 2, your go for 161 Alpha.
LC, payload LPO, soft ride heaters off.
Roger that, LPO.
Countdown clocks here in the Mission Director Center have been adjusted for the aircraft's current position for the nominal drop point. We're now at T-minus 6 minutes, 14 seconds and counting. And the actual drop is not based as much on the countdown as it is the position of the aircraft relative to the nominal ideal target drop point. About T-minus 90 seconds, we'll get a final fin sweep test. That actually starts at 45 seconds before the drop, where they can put the hydraulic systems on the rocket through with their Pegasus, and then retract the fin pins, which...
L minus 5 minutes. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Copy L minus 5, PLT. And launch team, at this time I want to poll for final launch countdown. Rock?
This is the Rock. Range is green. Clear to launch.
Rock is clear to launch. Peg?
Peg is go.
Peg is go. Orbital?
Orbital is go.
Orbital is go. NLM?
The NASA team is go for launch.
NLM is go for launch. Launch team is go to proceed with final countdown at L minus 4. Launch team is go to proceed with final countdown at L minus 4.
LCPLT, L minus 4. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Copy L minus 4. I can verify launch windows go.
NLC Peg, we're go for transient power.
Roger that, Peg. LPO, step 170, apply transient bus power.
LC, LPO, transient power on now.
Copy that, LPO.
LC Peg, transient power on and nominal, vehicle is safe.
Roger that, Peg. And Peg LC, confirm ready to configure SIGI for flight.
LC Peg, we're ready to configure SIGI for flight.
Check 173.
SIGI is the guidance system on the Pegasus.
Minus 3, 3, 2, 1, mark.
I copy L minus 3 and LPO, your go for 174. Proceed to configure SIGI for flight.
LC, LPO, that's in work.
Alpha 846, what is the best side for sun?
Looks like the right side where we are now will be the best.
Okay, after launch we'll make a slight left turn.
Copy all.
LC Peg, SIGI configured for flight.
Roger that, Beck.
LC LPO, SIGI configured for flight.
And I copy LPO. We'll check 174 and 175.
LC PLT, L minus 2, 3, 2, 1, mark.
Copy L minus 2.
2 minutes to launch.
LPO, step 177, switch CSE to LPO tab.
LC LPO, CSE at LPO tab.
Roger that. And PLT, you go to acquire launch heading at 118.7 mag.
LC, PLT, and work.
And we'll pick up the fin sweep here. The lens appears to have fogged over, but we'll probably still see the fin sweep, which starts at minus 90 seconds.
LC PLT, L minus 1, 3, 2, 1, mark.
Roger, L minus 1, and LPO, you go to activate fin battery at L minus 45 seconds.
LPO copies. Fin battery on my mark. 3, 2, 1, mark.
Fin battery's
Starboard
activated.
now. Port now. Rudder now. Fin sweep now.
LC, this is Senior MIFCO. Countdown to L1011 in the box. Did you copy L1011 in the box?
Copy in the box.
Copy that.
L1011 is in the drop box. T minus 12, T minus 10. Pegasus go for launch. T minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
LT, stand by as you guys reacquire heading.
LC PLT, copy.
LC Peg is go for launch.
PLT, LC is go for launch. PLT confirm.
LC PLT confirms go for launch.
Drop on my mark. 3, 2,
1. Go for release.
Pegasus is away.
And drop. Pegasus is away. The ignition of the Pegasus rocket with Cygnus, helping hurricane forecasters understand and predict the intensity of hurricanes.
Fin actuator system is working properly to control the flight of the vehicle during stage 1. Power buses remain nominal, approximately 30 seconds into flight.
RCO. First motion time of 13:37:2
Vehicle is now past Max Q. Attitude remains nominal. Approximately 30 seconds until stage 1 burnout. Attitude remains nominal. Power buses remain strong.
All data coming back.
Approximately 10 seconds until stage 1 burnout.
All data coming back looks good. Getting ready for the first stage to burn out. Right on time.
Stage 1 is burned out. Attitude remains nominal.
Coming up on first and second stage separation.
Approximately 10 seconds until stage 1 separation and stage 2 ignition. Stage 1 separation. Stage 2 ignition. Stage 2 TVC is operating nominally and controlling the flight of the vehicle.
Standing by for fairing separation.
Power buses remain strong. Approximately 20 seconds till fairing deployment.
Second stage flight looks good.
Fairing separation is confirmed. Attitude remains nominal after successful fairing separation.
It's animation based on actual flight data.
Approximately 20 seconds until stage 2 burnout. Vehicle is flying down the nominal track, indicating good performance. Stage 2 is burned out. Attitude remains nominal.
Our flight engineer, Steve Hollow.
Long coast phase between stage 2 and stage 3.
Steve Hollow reporting everything looks good. Here's the actual position of the rocket as it moves downrange.
And vehicle guidance and performance look excellent through stage 2 burn. Vehicle systems are performing nominally. We have slightly less than 200 seconds until stage 3 ignition. Vehicle continues nominally as we're in the stage 2-3 coast phase.
Or now that the LT-11 is returning to Cape Canaveral after a successful deployment.
All systems remain nominal on the Pegasus Cygnus vehicle. Approximately 2 minutes until stage 3 ignition. Vehicle is now reorienting in preparation for stage 3 ignition. Power buses remain strong. Vehicle continues to reorient.
Vehicle's on target. We've got stage 3 ignition coming up at launch plus 6 minutes 56 seconds.
Proper attitude for stage 3 ignition, which is approximately 60 seconds away.
Standing by.
Approximately 30 seconds until stage 3 ignition. All systems remain nominal on the Pegasus vehicle. Stage 3 TVC is initiated. Stage 2 separation. Stage 3 ignition. TVC is operating nominally, following command and controlling the flight of the vehicle. Attitude remains nominal during Stage 3 burn.
We've had acquisition through Karoo.
Vehicle systems remain nominal during Stage 3 burn.
Have loss of signal from the Cape here in about 30 seconds. About 15 seconds after that, we'll lose data from the Jupiter Inlet Station. And Karoo now is tracking.
Attitude remains nominal. Report that we have telemetry from downrange sites in French Guiana. Stage 3 burnout. Vehicle is now in orbit. Vehicle is now reorienting into the payload deployment attitude. Vehicle systems operating normally. Vehicle is reorienting for payload deployment, which will occur in approximately 4 minutes or 6 minutes.
Both tracking antennas at Karoo report solid lock, good data.
Yep, one. And we are now receiving telemetry from CYGNSS in French Guiana. Vehicle is stable in its payload deployment attitude. Will remain in this position for approximately 220 seconds until the first payload deployment event occurs. We're now 600 seconds into the flight of the Pegasus Cygnus vehicle, approximately 3 minutes until the first payload separation event.
And we're now at L plus 10 minutes 30 seconds into the flight of the Pegasus.
Small Cygnus observatories on the Pegasus vehicle, and they will be deployed in pairs at approximately 30-second intervals.
First deployment at L plus 13:04. Data from
vehicle systems are operating nominally approximately 11 minutes into the Pegasus Cygnus mission.
Data from Cygnus indicates the spacecraft are healthy, and as we've just heard Steve Howell report, the launch vehicle is also in good shape. About 2 minutes away from first deployment.
Power buses remain strong.
First spacecraft separation less than a minute away.
vehicle systems are operating nominally. Approximately 60 seconds until the first Cygnus Observatory deployment event. GNC reports an excellent orbit within 1 sigma of pre-flight predictions.
And the spacecraft on the third stage almost directly abeam of French Guiana. Standing by for first deployment.
Approximately 20 seconds until the first Cygnus deployment event. Cygnus Observatories A and C have been successfully deployed. Approximately 20 seconds until observatories E and G. Cygnus Observatories E and G have been successfully deployed. Approximately 20 seconds until observatories F and H.